Hey everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am revisiting a technique that I shared a few months back, and I think it is so much fun, and it features acrylic paint on an acetate background. And I'm switching it up today, and I'm doing this as a holiday card. Now I'm going to be featuring the Holiday Wishes background stamp from Neat and Tangled, and here is a look at their holiday stuff. Absolutely love this background stamp. It's so great because you can use it as a background, or you can stamp it and cut it into a whole bunch of parts and make a bunch of sentiment strips. And I am going to be using my Misty stamping tool to stamp this onto some acetate. So I've gone ahead and removed the black foam piece that's in the Misty to accommodate for the fact that this is a red rubber cling mounted stamp. So when I'm using that with the Misty, I need to take out that black foam piece. And I am going to use some Thermoweb purple tape to hold my piece of acetate in place as I stamp this. Now I'm going to be embossing on this, so I'm using some VersaFine Clair Nocturne Black pigment ink to stamp this image onto my acetate. And I'm just pressing that down. And I forgot to prep the surface of my acetate with a powder tool. So I'm gonna have, first of all, did you see me just spill the embossing powder? I left that in because that's pretty typical of me. But I forgot to prep the surface of the acetate, so I do have a little bit of extra embossing powder sticking to areas that I don't want it. I did want to mention that I am using a heat-resistant acetate here because I'm doing some embossing. And with a few firm flicks on the back of this, I was able to remove most of the excess embossing powder. Luckily, I'm using a clear embossing powder, so it's not too noticeable in the areas where there's extra embossing powder. Now I'm going to make my card base, and I'm using some Neenah Solar White Heavyweight cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 11 inches. I'm scoring it using my little scoreboard at 5 1/2 inches, and then I'm folding it over and reinforcing the crease with my bone folder. And you can see how my embossed background looks on top of that white card base. It is super cool. Now I have some various colors of acrylic paint on an acrylic block here, and I'm using a flat brush that's just a tiny bit damp to pick up some of this paint and swipe it onto the back side of my embossed background. So I'm actually painting on the back of the acetate. That's going to help protect the acrylic paint from getting like scratched or marred as it sits on top of the card. So if the acrylic paint was on the outside, number one, it would occlude the stamping that I just did. And number two, it could run the risk of getting scratched off. So by putting it on the back side of this acetate, I make sure that it's protected from things that might scrape up against it. So I'm just creating a few little paint swoops here, and you're gonna, or swoops or swooshes, dry brush effect, whatever you wanna call it. It's nothing that's rocket science here. You can see I'm actually gonna mess this part up. I'm just gonna wipe away a little bit of that paint with my finger. I could also wipe it off completely while it's still wet with a baby wipe. And I'm just kind of highlighting a few of the phrases on this background that I thought were really cute. And you can see how that looks when I have the acrylic paint on the back side of this embossed background. I think it's adorable and a great way to add a pop of color to this black and white background. Now I wanted to kind of add a little something to it, so I decided to heat emboss the edges of this panel. So I've just tapped my VersaMark Ink Pad along all 4 edges of this, and then I'm just dipping that into some gold embossing powder. This is gilded embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. And that's going to create a really delicate gold edge along the outside of this acetate. It really is beautiful. And you know me, if I have an opportunity to add gold onto my card, I'm gonna do it. So that's what I did here. Now I am taking my card base and a blending brush, and I have the Catherine Pooler Spruce ink. I wanted kind of a grayish green here, and I am blending some of this ink onto the card base that I created earlier, and I'm just intensifying it in the center and kind of working it out. You can see it's not perfect, but that's okay. As it dries back, it will smooth out. And also, my background is really going to take center stage, so nobody's going to be looking at the ink blending that's underneath, but you can see how it's drying back and smoothing out already. Now, because the acrylic paint is opaque, it is a great place to hide some foam adhesive. So I'm just cutting down some strips of foam adhesive and hiding that behind my paint swooshes or dry brush effect that I created. And then I'm going to add a little bit of greenery at the upper right-hand corner of this card just to add a pop more of that green and make it feel a little more Christmassy. I'm going to attach these together using some liquid glue, but I have to tell you a secret. I am totally dreaming of a pink Christmas this year. And this pink and green combo is just, it has my heart. I mean, a corally pink with this kind of grayish colored muted back green is just absolutely beautiful, and it will carry nicely into the spring months as well as far as color combinations are concerned. So once I have my greenery all arranged, I adhered it to the front of my acrylic panel using some foam adhesive, and then I am going to tie some baker's twine just right over the top to add a touch more of shimmer and gold on there. And then I'm going to flip this back over again, and I'm going to hide even more foam adhesive behind that grouping of greenery that I placed on the front. So by strategically placing my elements, it allows me to make sure that this acetate is very well adhered to my card base. Now I kind of went back and forth. Do I want a plain white card base? Do I want the ink blended card base? And in the end, I added the color with that spruce ink blending, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. Seriously, dreaming of a pink Christmas. Can we sing that song? I'm dreaming of a pink Christmas. Okay, enough singing. Let's add some crystal clear sequins from Neat and Tangled using some Lawn Fawn glue tube, and that will complete my card for today. I absolutely love the way this card turned out. I love the different tones of pink with that green, and I love the cool effect that you get, kind of the shadowing effect that you get by layering the acetate over the solid card base using some foam adhesive, and this would make a great shaker window too. As always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube, so if you're looking for something in particular, check there, or you can head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I'll have that linked below as well. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. As always, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications here on my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my paper crafting and card making video tutorials. I'm so glad you stopped by. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.